Welcome to How Do They Afford That, the podcast that peeks into the financial lives of everyday Australians. I'm Michael Thompson. I'm a writer and the co-host of the podcast Fear and Greed Business News. As always, I'm with Canna Campbell, financial planner, founder of Sugar Mama TV, the financial literacy platform that you'll find on YouTube, podcasts, books, Instagram, Threads, TikTok and more. Hello, Canna.
Good morning.
Canna, if there is one thing that I love, it is a good list.
Me too. I'm a listaholic.
If there is a second thing that I love, it is busting myths. It's very specific, isn't it? So today, we are going to combine the two into an almighty list of the top 10 money myths and why they are busted. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put to you a common misconception about money. And then you are going to tell me why it is a myth and why it is busted. Are you up for the challenge?
Challenge accepted.
Oh, now first, we need to make it very clear that as you're listening, please know that anything that we talk about is always general in nature. It is never personal, investment, strategic or product advice. It is purely for financial education purposes only.
That's right. We don't know anything about the details of your financial situation, what goals you may have, what your risk profile may be, and of course, what is the deadline for all those really exciting financial goals and dreams. So always go and speak to a financial planner when you need personal advice.
Myth number 1. I feel like I need kind of sound effects and kind of something like a thunder clap or something. Anyway, I don't have that, so just imagine that I've done that. Myth number 1, you need to be rich to invest.
Load of crap. If you want to be rich, you need to invest. We're reframing this myth.
Ah, that's a very
turning it into a fact.
That's a very positive way to look at it, that investing leads to being rich. You don't have to be rich first.
Exactly.
Okay. So basically that then means that and we've done some episodes on this, kind of how to get started investing when you don't have a lot of kind of spare cash.
Everyone should go back and listen to those. If they haven't started investing, they're the episodes to go back and listen to. And
it's all about just kind of finding your spare money or little side hustles and things like that, and just kind of building up to that point, the $1,000 project.
And do a risk profile, have a separate savings account so you can put that money aside and educate yourself in the meantime. And then the moment you're ready, you can hit the ground running and start investing. And, investing, generally speaking, is a long-term game plan. So you do need to be patient and you do need to make sure that you understand all the risks and the costs involved, but also all the wonderful benefits.
And waiting until you are rich. Whatever that is, it might never happen.
And you've wasted all that time and opportunity and compounding interest at work. It's magic for you.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure, and look, of course, go and get some financial advice, get some advice on kind of how to do it. But any advisor is going to tell you that it is a long-term thing.
100%.
So the earlier you can start, the better. I think we successfully busted that one. I helped with the busting.
It's not just been busted, it's been smashed.
Okay, that's very violent. Myth number 2. Credit cards are always bad. Oh, I don't know about this one. This feels like could be the myth that you will sit on the fence on.
So I like to say credit cards are like carbohydrates.
Okay.
If you overindulge in carbs, you get a little bit bloated. You might put on a bit of extra weight that you don't necessarily want. You might feel a little bit sluggish, not sleep well. But when you have the right balance of carbs and you eat them at the right time of the day, or you eat them in the right combination, that can actually give you a great source of energy and help you get through the day.
So the same thing happens if you eat credit cards.
Don't eat plastic. But if you look into various credit cards, they come with a lot of perks and benefits. And yes, of course, most credit cards come with fees and charges, which you need to be aware of. But when you use a credit card in the right way, stop laughing at me, Michael.
I'm just laughing at the idea of eating a credit card and then you go in to pay for something, and to tap and go, you just kind of lean on the.
I'm sure there's some sort of weird fetish out there where people do actually eat like credit cards.
Then you've also seen those people that get kind of like the microchip from it implanted under their skin, so that they can just do like I'm just going to pay with my forearm or something. Well, I don't know why you wouldn't just use your watch which has it in there anyway.
Probably be safer and less intrusive.
Yeah, far less surgical.
Yeah. But you look at, the frequent flyer programs, and we did a brilliant episode with
Steve Huey.
Huey from I Fly Flat, and with all the hacks to maximize your frequent flyer points. But then also you get discounts, and, travel insurance quite often can come with a credit card if you, book your flight using that credit card and the accommodation to activate it. You can then get, airport lounge access, which Tom and I recently were able to pick up through Tom's business card is through American Express. So we were able to take the kids to the lounge instead of having to spend a fortune in the airport. So when you find the right credit card that matches your needs and you use it responsibly, you pay it off in full each month, you're not incurring all the expensive interest because that's when it backfires. Mm-hmm. A credit card can actually be a really intelligent, helpful financial tool, but only when used in the right way, just like carbohydrates.
Well done. Myth number three, renting is throwing money away.
It comes from that stupid saying, rent money is dead money, which is such a fear-mongering comment that just makes people feel like crap for renting. And that's just such a load of... I won't swear.
It actually, this one really makes me angry.
It's same.
Because renting puts a roof over your head.
Exactly. And also, there are a lot of benefits, which we won't go into. We need to do, actually, this is another episode. We need to do the benefits of renting. Yep. I feel like no one talks about it. It's the neglected, little sister, little brother. Now, let me say this. If rent money is dead money, interest is dead money. So the average Australian mortgage is around about $636,000.
Yep.
If you pay an average of 6.5% per annum, you will actually pay over the 30-year period over $809,000 in interest over that 30-year period. So if you're going to be one of those people, I'm going to try and control my emotions here, that says that, guess what? Interest is just as much dead money.
Yeah.
And you have to pick one or the other if you want to have a roof over your head. So there is no shame in renting whatsoever.
No, it is an exchange of money for something that you absolutely need, which is somewhere safe to live.
And also, look, I won't. I can see the anger within me about to unleash, but I won't. We'll save that for another episode.
Can you imagine how angry that episode is going to be? Because I'm angry about this. You're angry about this. We'll just end up shouting for the entire episode. I think we can say that we have busted that one
apart.
Torn it. Okay.
I'm very violent today, aren't I?
You really are. You've got very violent analogies kind of coming out here. Okay. Number 4. You should always pay off debt before saving or investing.
All right. This is a very surface level statement and myth. It goes deeper than this. If it's toxic debt we're talking about here, such as credit cards, yes. You should clear that debt first because toxic debt typically incurs a higher interest rate than what you would earn in savings or, from investing. However, if it is what we call semi-toxic debt, such as a mortgage that is interest is not tax deductible, obviously it potentially is an asset that ideally grows in value, but it isn't actually providing with any passive income stream, the answer is it depends. So this is where, talking about something like a debt recycling strategy might work, or looking at actually having a debt reduction plan in place, but also a regular investment plan in place. So it's that you can't pigeonhole someone's financial advice with that particular statement. Everyone is different. It really boils down to your financial situation, where you are in your life, what risks you feel comfortable, and then obviously going and seeing a financial planner because they will then help you work out if you need to pay off your home first or if you can actually juggle the two to help get ahead and build financial well-being for yourself.
Okay, that actually leads us quite neatly into the next myth, myth number 5. If I thought you were angry before, you are just going to go berserk at this one. Financial planning is only for the wealthy.
Oh, just again, these are just people coming up with these myths to an excuse to be lazy.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's quite the allegation. It also feels like the kind of thing that someone puts out there online just to get a good reaction.
It's also really...
kind of like what I just did to you. Sorry.
It also undermines what a financial planner does. A financial planner's job is to help make you wealthy.
Yeah.
So why would then they say, well, I'm only going to see wealthy clients? That's a very narrow-minded way of thinking about it. And in fact, when I had my financial planning practice running, SAS Financial, some of my most enjoyable clients were clients that came with me with literally nothing, and we built them substantial 6-7-figure investment portfolios by simply getting them started and getting them understanding. And, a financial planner not only helps make you wealthy, but they also educate you along the way. They inspire you, they motivate you, they empower you, and they give you a huge, mental health respite because you know that your money is now working for you and getting you on track. So that just completely goes against why financial planners exist. They are there to help you become wealthy.
On the flip side to that, though, there is a barrier to entry in that, and this might be the perception of the industry as well, is that you need to have a certain amount of money before you can do it because there is a cost involved. If you want kind of the full service financial planner, that you are looking at somewhere between kind of $3,000 to $7,000.
I think the average is around 5.5 now.
Yeah, so it is a fairly significant amount of money, but
yeah, see, this is why I say this is just these myths are just giving people excuses to be lazy.
There are other options.
Thank you, and some of them are actually free.
Yeah, and we actually did an episode that's worth going back and having a look at. It's an interview with Karen Ely from Noble Oak about some of the other options that are available, and there are a range of them from kind of very low cost through to this kind of the full gold standard, full service kind of thing. And it should be that cost does not prevent you from at least accessing some advice that will help you get your priorities right.
Exactly. And you know what? Head to your local library. There are so many brilliant books out there to explain exactly what to do and breaking down the steps so that, you can actually turn it to a financial planner's office, say, in a couple of years' time when you have that money to invest and go, well, actually, in the meantime, I've built up a, $80,000 share portfolio. That is a great way to get started, and then you can build further upon from that.
I don't want to sound arrogant, but do you think I'm turning into you? I think I gave a really good answer before.
There are times where I think I'm turning into you.
Oh, dear Lord. Oh, this is a terrible...
It's like osmosis, but cross-contamination.
Have you seen that movie Freaky Friday where they swap bodies and all of a sudden...
That's going back into my, I'm older than you, so... I can't go stretch my brain.
Well, there is an original movie of Freaky Friday, and then there's the remake with, I think, Jamie Lee Curtis and maybe Lindsay Lohan, maybe? Anyway.
I actually think I saw the original, which actually makes me feel even older.
Oh, I'm sorry to do that to you. But it does feel like sometimes that we are actually now swapping, that I am the passionate financial planner and you are, you are me.
NFI.
Oh, cheers. All right. We've covered the first 5 myths, I think, successfully. I mean, I would say that because I was involved in it. We're going to take a quick break and then get to the next 5 myths on our list of the top 10 money myths. And there are some doozies here, and I suspect you are going to be angry once again.
Quite possibly.
I look forward to that. We'll take a break and do that in a sec. Canna, we are busting money myths today, a list of the top 10 money myths. And so far we have busted 5, so we are 50% busted. Let's get on to myth number 6. Oh, this one actually makes me mad. You don't need health insurance if you are young and healthy. We talked about this in a recent episode, all about health insurance. Just, does it make you as mad as it makes me?
It makes me even angrier. Now that we've that, if anyone is thinking this is not a myth, it's a fact, please pause and go and listen to this particular episode. If you are young and healthy, you still most likely need private health insurance, or at the very least need to go and educate yourself around how private health insurance works, how it helps you save potentially on tax, what you're covered for, what you're not covered for, and the overall benefit of how private health insurance works. I'm probably not giving this justice. I feel like you could probably come on top of me with your anger. I'm restraining myself right now, which is unusual.
Go back and have a listen to the episode that we did with Tim Bennett from Finder, because he does go through this. There are financial incentives to getting on board early with private health insurance. But then there's also the fact that you do not know what is about to happen to you. If you had a crystal ball, you would be fine, but you would also be mega wealthy because you would be able to see what's going to happen to the share market. But the fact is that you do not know in your 20s whether you're going to do your knee playing sport on the weekend. You don't know if you're going to have a car accident. You don't know if, unexpectedly, you might have a baby.
Or get sick.
Exactly.
And everyone thinks about private health insurance accident, but in fact, you need to think about illnesses that happen as well.
Yeah, indeed.
You need special treatment.
Yeah, and that there are a whole lot of different tiers. There are 4 different tiers. You've got your basic tier, then your bronze, your silver, and your gold, and that it is worth investigating to see which one might be right for you because you do not know what is just around the corner. Even if you are fit and healthy now, it is too late once you are injured or once you are sick to go and get private health insurance to cover that particular incident or that particular episode. Oh, I have become you. I don't think I took a breath there for about 3 minutes. I was running on pure fury, which is, I suspect, what you do most of the time. Would I be right?
No, I just when I'm around you.
Well, thank you. It's something I bring out in you.
Or when Tom gives me a lecture about not buying black and gold muesli bars for our kids.
I mean, why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you just buy the black and gold muesli bars? Because they are, what, like $2?
My kids don't like them, therefore it is a waste, which then brings us to our next myth.
Myth number 7, buying in bulk always saves money.
Oh, gosh. All right. If it is not used or eaten, in my case, it is a waste of money. So when my kids throw those black and gold muesli bars on the floor for the dogs to then eat, that is a waste of money. But also, it doesn't just stop there. You need to think about items that you might buy in bulk, which are perishable. You don't get to use them up and they look moldy in the fridge or in the pantry or, they've reached their expiry date.
I once bought, when I was a lot younger, I bought, just for myself, a kilogram of hot dogs.
Oh, yeah.
No, I did it because, it was...
Were you having an eating competition with someone?
I was just hungry. And I was at the shops, and again, you shouldn't shop while you're hungry. Oh, and I'm like, I'm going to have hot dogs. And so I went to the deli part, and it was like $3 for a kilo. I'm like, wow, I'm going to buy that in bulk because that's a great deal. Anyway, a kilo of hot dogs is too many hot dogs for one person.
Did you throw up?
I have this kind of period that I don't remember. It's like hot dog induced amnesia, which is not actually a very common medical complaint, and I don't suspect you would find a private health insurance policy that would cover you for it.
Well, the other thing also that with buying in bulk, and I have a lot to say about this because I feel like a lot of people get caught up in the marketing and sales pitch of buying in bulk. But when we tend to buy in bulk, we tend to not savor that particular product as such. So say you buy, 5 litres of conditioner. You tend to use a lot more conditioner. You waste a lot more product. You're not as resourceful or respectful of it. And then, of course, there's things like storage. If you don't have the space for all these products you're buying in bulk, you've got to find somewhere to store it. Sometimes that means using a storage unit, which is $1 billion industry. You also need to think about you might get sick of that particular product.
I get sick of hot dogs,
for example, and you may actually not need that particular product. Like those hot dogs, you probably didn't really need it, so it wasn't particularly great.
Well, what else? What else was I going to eat?
And then there's the upfront cost of having to. I'm really going deep with this, but don't stop. Please don't stop me.
No.
But then you're like, okay, you could have bought, say, 2 hot dogs for, say, $2 versus a kilo of hot dogs for, say, $15. That $13 could have been spent something that was better for you and value your immediate need as well as your long-run need, or long-term need, I should say.
I try not to think about the nutritional value of hot dogs. I suspect it's not particularly high.
But, for example, you could have spent that $13 on some frozen vegetables that could go into your freezer and last a lot longer, actually be healthier, less need to see a doctor.
To be fair, I think I was 21. I was not buying frozen vegetables.
Look, I may be overthinking this, but, you need to be, a judicious shopper perhaps, Don't get caught in the hype, the rush, the bright lights of, wow, it's on sale, buy in bulk. But think it through, and maybe if you do love buying in bulk, look, maybe spreading those savings with other people that also need that so you don't actually need to necessarily consume as much.
Myth number 8. I feel like I should say this one and then just duck under the desk, take cover. You don't need to worry about retirement until you're older.
Why would you want to be as stupid as leaving something like this is so important till last minute? You know, there are so many studies around people who are ill-prepared for retirement are under huge financial stress and pressure. Yeah. It is incredible what you can do and how you can make up for lost time, definitely. But the earlier you get started, the better. And the benefit of is not just the financial benefit of working on your financial well-being and being able to plan for retirement, but also what it does for your headspace. Knowing that, okay, well, I've got my ducks correctly lined up. I understand what I'm doing the best I can. I know ideas where I can, invest more, and I know ideas where I can save more and I can be more efficient with your money. Why would you want to leave it till last minute and then discover I don't have enough money, I don't actually have enough time to make up for this loss? The opportunities aren't there because, you've got a younger generation that are, more experienced, more talented, up to date with educational requirements. And then you are stuck with a really depressing retirement where you end up quite possibly having to rely on the government and you outlive your funds. And why would you want to do it yourself? Have more dignity, have more respect. Okay, should I go back? Calm down now. My heart rate is racing.
No, that is very good. I'm sorry, just while you got so passionate about that. And I spent the entire time laughing to myself. And do you know why?
Why?
Because I just thought of a joke.
Oh, God, here we go.
Why does a duck make a good accountant? So they're good at finding quacks deductions.
That is the worst dad joke I've ever heard.
I know, I made it up on the spot, and this is why I was laughing.
Don't do that again.
Because he said, it sounded like when he said you got to get your ducks in a row, it sounded like he said you got to get your ducks in a row, and I'm like, there's material in this. Anyway, I shouldn't workshop material live on the podcast.
But you know what? Regret is a short word, but it stretches forever.
You're also, if you go to a duck accountant, you're not going to get a tax bill.
Oh, it just gets worse.
That's pretty good. Anyway.
No, it's not.
Cheers. Anyway, that was myth number 8. You don't need to worry about retirement until you are older. And I think you effectively busted that one. I'm sorry for not paying attention and instead focusing on duck jokes. Myth number 9. You should avoid all debt.
Okay, this comes from a complete space of scarcity and ignorance.
Okay.
Not all debt is bad. We've spoken about toxic debt and semi-toxic debt and healthy debt. The type of debt that's acceptable, obviously always managed in a smart, responsible, mindful way, backed with research and with plenty of safety nets around you, is the type of debt that can help you build wealth and take you closer to having financial freedom and independence. And this is why, financial education and literacy is so incredibly important. So, stop wasting your money on stuff that depreciates in value and start using those funds to accumulate assets that add value to your financial well-being, assets that grow in value, assets that provide you with a passive income. Now, for people going, well, I don't have money to do that, that is this type of debt. This is where this type of debt comes in to actually help you afford those things that are going to build your financial well-being.
We have done episodes in the past on that, haven't we? And in particular, things like debt recycling and those that try to kind of explain, because that's quite it can be a complex topic. And it is also a point at which you should get financial advice.
Definitely. And that's when you go and see a financial planner and do lots of research. And obviously don't make any financial decisions until you understand exactly what you're doing and the benefits as well as the costs. But healthy debt is fine. It is how people are getting ahead financially. It is what is making Australians wealthier, more independent, more secure.
Last one, myth number 10. I've heard this one said a number of times in the past. Investing in shares is just like gambling.
Again, just whoever comes up with these myths is so ignorant, so naive.
Well, I put together the list, so I'll take that as a personal slight.
Well, okay, gambling is wagering money on an outcome and therefore speculation, whereas investing is investing money, the expectation of a potential income or profit. And gambling is normally, in most situations, a time-bound event. So watching that horse hit the finish line, or watching, a sports game, or being at the casino, for example. Investing is different in that it's normally a longer period of time. Yes, there may be someone who is investing with a 3-year period, but it tends to be a lot longer than actually gambling. And the biggest difference, I would say, is a gambler owns nothing. An investor owns a share of a business. And when you are investing in shares, you are essentially becoming a part business owner of that enterprise. And therefore, assuming that business makes money, entitled to a share of the profits and hopefully sees the value of their ownership increase in value. And they are based upon research, understanding what the business does, the opportunities of that business, and diversifying that investment portfolio. So it is such an insult to call investing in shares and the share market gambling.
I think that is the best busting of that myth I've ever heard.
Really?
Yeah, I think you did a great job with that one, especially the fact that by buying shares, you are buying a share of that company. You are actually becoming effectively a part owner. It is such a great way to look at it. And it feels like all I'm doing today is kind of referring you back to other episodes that we've done. But there is a really, really important episode that we did with Roger Montgomery, who came into the studio and he explained what he looks for in a quality company when he is investing, and he's been investing for decades and knows this so well, what he is looking for and how he kind of measures the past performance of a company and then makes a judgment about the future potential for that business. And it is just such an eye-opening episode. So if you are interested in this one, myth number 10, investing in shares is just like gambling, and why that is not the case, go and listen to Roger Montgomery's approach to it, because he doesn't sound like a gambler.
No, and there's a big difference in emotions as well between investing and gambling. When you're gambling, there's this rush of excitement because you're trading to win, whereas when you're investing, it's a lot more methodical. You're doing your research, you're looking at your goals, you're coming up with with a game plan that's not just linked to what you're investing in, but also the strategy behind that investment plan.
All right, 10 myths. You need to be rich to invest. Credit cards are always bad. Renting is throwing money away. You should always pay off debt before saving or investing. Financial planning only for the wealthy. You don't need health insurance if you're young, if you're healthy. Buying in bulk always saves money. You don't need to worry about retirement until you're older. You should avoid all debt. Investing in shares is just like gambling. Do we say they are all officially busted, Canna? We've
blown them out of the water.
Oh, like a duck.
Oh, please, no more duck jokes.
I think that's a perfect way to finish.
Cringing.
No, you shouldn't. You should be celebrating this. How do we find you?
The best place to get in contact with me is on Instagram at SugarMamaTV.
And you can hear me every day with Sean Aylmer on Fear and Greed, Australia's best business podcast. Thank you for listening to How Do They Afford That? Remember to hit follow on the podcast, and the best thing you can do is tell somebody else, or if you like, better yet, send them this episode and spread the word about How Do They Afford That? Thank you very much for your company. Join us again next week.